Happy Friday! So, how has COVID-19 affected me? COVID-19 affects to me personally. So, I have a number. Not all of them are bad. Some of them are huge disruptions. Some of them aren't really disruptions and might have actually had positive impacts. So, I'll go through a few of the things. Made a little list on a post-it note. So, here it is. So the first thing, family. So I have 2 grandparents and 1 step-grandparent living in a senior home. And since early 2020, my grandparents can no longer leave. And they used to come over to just visit on whenever, on occasion, on the holidays, on birthdays, and we'd get to see them and we could go visit them. And with COVID-19, all of that has stopped. We cannot go visit them. We cannot give them a hug. We cannot do anything like that. And this is the longest I've gone in a long time without seeing my grandparents that live in the home face to face. My granddad is 94. My step-grandma is 94 years old. They're both 94 years old. And my grandma, who lives there, is 90 years old. And none of them have died from COVID-19, though my step-grandmom, who's 94 years old, did get COVID-19 and survived, which is truly remarkable for someone her age, because COVID-19 primarily kills old people. So, yeah, she did good. And then my other grandma, who's not in the home, is 89 years old. We live long in my family. We have people good mid upper level is 160 years old on my mom's side of the family. And the 80s and 90s are pretty typical, 90s specifically, as a life expectancy for my family. And it's been hard not getting to see them. This is the longest I've gone, potentially my entire life, without seeing them. And so that's been really, really hard to not be able to see my family and talk to them and give them a hug and say I love you to their face. Yeah, so that's been really hard. So that's been a major, major disruption down to daily, weekly occasions, special occasions, events, birthdays level. Another big one, so I would count that as, at least at this point in time, a negative effect. Another one is Ireland. So I had planned an Ireland trip, heritage travel to Ireland. I am part Irish, and one of the more prominent names of my Irish bloodlines is the Gillespie clan of Ireland. Gillespies. Grace Gillespie. And so, yes, that is my ancestor's name. One of them. There are quite a few. I'm Irish on both my mom and my dad's side. And so I started getting this trip, kind of the actual logistics of it, planned in 2017, and I bought my tickets to and from Ireland through Iceland Air in July 2019 when I was in Scotland, and I had some strong indicators that was my next place for heritage travel. And I booked my flights, and then December 6th, 2019 was the first notification that one of my flights had changed. And then by January, everything had been canceled, January or February. And then that kind of snowballed, and so all my flights were canceled, and you could apply for a refund. I chose not to. I got the travel voucher instead, still using that money for the intended purpose. So, and that's good through 2023. But that, I would have gone the 26th of May this year, 2020, to the 12th of June, 2020. And so that's been completely nixed. So trying to figure out when to go. Ireland's been in super extreme lockdown as of recent. And so I don't know when, but at some point it will. So that's been a huge impact in my life, because kind of everything in my life before a heritage travel trip is in the theme of the country. Like it becomes my dominant mode of thinking. And so for me, that was a huge one to be affected. Something that's not so big of an effect is Facewear. Well, I'm a geologist, and I've done laboratory work and worked with volcanic ash and worked at an active lava lake in Hawaii. And as safety precautions, we were required to wear face masks. It was far more intensive than just face masks. And so the face masks in like everyday setting isn't new to me. It's just how often I'm wearing the mask is new to me. So that wasn't a very big thing. The masks are not a foreign concept for me, and they were not in a response to COVID-19. So that wasn't a really big deal, though it is still disruption to my everyday routine. Another thing, it would have been affected, but I had some very good foresight in early to mid 2019, and I had a YMCA membership, and I chose to wean off my YMCA membership by buying an elliptical and a stationary bicycle, because once you transition to adult from young adult, the age is 27, the price per month goes up $30-$40 a month, if I'm remembering that correctly. And so I was like, okay, I could buy a piece of equipment which costs, or two pieces of equipment which costs a lot up front, but down the road, after a little over a year, I get them paid off, as that would have been the same amount as my YMCA membership. And so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do that. And so I haven't actually, and I canceled my YMCA membership after leaving Albany, California. So it was either late 2019 or early 2020. I think it was late 2019 I did that. I have to go back and check. And latest early 2020. And so I had foresight, and I also had foresight to actually bring that back with me to Washington State when I moved back home here. And so I have a means of exercise, and so the closure of gyms and that kind of thing hasn't affected me at all. If anything, I'd say it's eliminated I'm gonna go get a gym membership, because I'm like, well, I got my own equipment. Like, I'm not the biggest person for classes. So yeah, so I would say it could have been severely affected if I did have a gym membership, but it hasn't been. So that's been one where maybe more like the thought process of how do I go about exercising was affected more than the exercising itself. And I'd say I might actually, as a result of COVID-19, be healthier than I would have if COVID-19 had not hit, because I do utilize these means of exercise I have at home. Another thing that I've been affected by COVID-19 from is my active lifestyle. So I like to go visit places, and there were times where certain government properties or lands managed by certain entities would not, or institutions or organizations would not be open, and so I couldn't visit those lands. But I would say that actually is kind of a good thing, or it'd be very local travel, so within your zip code kind of travel was allowed. And so, yeah, and we actually had zip code checked, like residency checks, most notably at the Shoreline Recycling and Transfer Station, also called the dump. And so that was a restriction on movement, and where I could go, and that eventually kind of alleviated. And I guess with this food, eating out, but I didn't eat out all that much since I moved home anyway. Yeah, so eating out, I'm gonna make that a different one. And then, so active lifestyle, but I would say this is actually probably a good effect, because I've still gone out and done stuff. It's just I had to do more digging on my side to find places. I couldn't be lazy and just be like, I'm gonna go to all the state parks. I'm like, no, what is actually open? So it's required me to put in effort and find new places that I might not have gone if COVID-19 hadn't hit. So that's been very cool. Or to re-gear it and be like, I'm just gonna do a road trip and visit some of the places I visited when I was younger. And yeah, they're not open, but I can be like, oh, I've been here, and kind of reflect, which has helped me in my memory. I got severe amnesia when I hit my head, so that's actually been really, really good. So I'd say that's a good effect of COVID-19, is it's diversified my active lifestyle. Another effect is transportation. So I've done some traveling to the San Juan Islands, and the ferry schedules were affected. And so I didn't have all the opportunities to travel that I had before, and transportation on the ferries was super light. Like, there were not many people using it, so the ride itself, like, they'd tape off, you can't sit here, the dining was closed, that kind of stuff. So it was very eerie traveling on the Washington State Department of Transportation ferries. So transportation has been affected, so that's one thing. Two more things. Food shortages. So I've been trying to get healthy in diet this year, and I eventually came up with something I call the Tanis diet, and that's the fine-tuned, like, final product. But to getting to what I eat on a normal basis, we've had a bunch of food shortages where things will just run out and not get in stock for a while, so I don't have a set routine. This is what I eat. I've eventually managed to find one that's resilient to food shortages, but it took me months and months to get that figured out, literally. And then the last one is eating out. So eating out has been affected in that we can't eat in the restaurant. I haven't really eaten out since I moved home, but before that I did eat out fairly frequently, so that is something that has been affected. It's just, takeout's good too, and I enjoy being able to eat dinner at home with my family, so I that might actually be a good thing, and not have the busyness of a restaurant and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a number of things. So family, my Ireland travel, Facewear, exercise, active lifestyle, transportation, specifically ferries, food shortages, and eating out. Although transportation, the freeways have been super light compared to normal, so that also, I say ferries and highways. It's been a great time to go out and do things at like parks and stuff. Not many people out there. So those are a few of the ways that COVID-19 has affected me personally. How has it affected you?